I've interacted with you a lot, and I know that you're a strong believer in community and network effects. So how does that help you in building this platform where it is today from the day you started?
I'm a very big believer in if you want to build a company, you have to create a moat and network effects becomes a moat. So just for certain companies, every user when they get added, it increases value to every other user. That's the definition of a network effect. कुछ अपने हाथ से try करो. Worst case fail होंगे तो क्या? But try करना जरूरी है. So for me, the biggest tech company in my head was always Microsoft. Because हमने सबने Microsoft के computers पे ही हम लिखा हुआ है. ऐसे like निर्मित एग्जाम का इस बार छोड़ दे तो ये बुक पढ़. And he gave me this book called Icon. I have now 5.9 crore users on the platform. We work in 900 odd cities. We do north of 10 million job interviews a month. If you go higher education, I believe online is really great for higher education. India का gross consumption is high, so India is going to create a lot of jobs. इतना सारा jobs create हो रहा है, उसका workforce कहाँ है world में? Youngest country in the world कौन सा है? India.
India.
Youngest English speaking skilled country in the world कौन सा है? India.
India.
So India is going to power. That is why I say India is in the forefront. Today, my content team uses 80% of AI tools to generate content. Today, my engineering team writes 30% of the code is written by AI. If they are not upskilled the right way, I think so the workforce will not work.
What are some of the things or tips that we should be doing, at least if we want to make a comeback after career break? What is your advice for such people?
Interesting. So सबसे पहले ना word career break को है ना हम break कर लेते हैं.
Hi everyone, welcome to a new episode of Bharat Upskill Project, which is an initiative that I am running to help you understand what are the different options available out there if you want to grow in your career. Fortunate to have today with me my mentor, Guru Nirmit, who is founder of Apna Jobs. He has a stellar background and he is solving real problem for Indians. He's basically helped them get to their dream jobs. So lucky to have him here, and we'll have some conversation जहाँ पे हम निर्मित से समझेंगे उनकी journey and also his nuggets of wisdom जो आपके लिए बहुत important होंगे if you are going to search for jobs in 2025. Thank you, Nirmit, for taking out time. Welcome to Bharat Upskill Project.
Thank you, Shashank, for having me here, and thank you for your kind words. I think so. I also learn a lot from you. So I think so. The mentorship is mutual. But excited to be here, and I will try to be as intellectually honest as possible. Have a good conversation. Yeah.
Sure. So, Nirmit, I just want to understand your career journey, how everything started for you, and what you were doing before starting Apna.
So if you look at the career journey, I think so. So let's go back to the childhood, right? As early as that, because that defined a lot of who I am today. And I had a very interesting childhood, and a lot of times I couldn't understand कि छोटा छोटा चीज how all of that add up. But now when I see myself, I think so it's an amalgamation of all these things adding up together. So born and brought up in a Gujju family, and my dad and my granddad used to run an SMB.
Right.
So, so the so the most interesting thing is that a lot of times on the dining table, and it was almost every day, my grandmom used to ask us hisab. Like उन्होंने मम्मी को दिया है say X rupees to buy sabji and all. Papa has taken X rupees of ghar kharchi to do that, and Dada is using some money. And then we used to do hisab, and then every day, and this is a daily ritual. And I used to feel like, oh, my grandmom is so stingy that she makes us do hisab. But I know all of this thing kind of led into this financial discipline in me. Then another dinner conversation with my granddad and papa always is like, ये order आ गया है, अभी इस order करने के लिए हम working capital कैसे arrange करेंगे? ये order deliver नहीं हो रहा है. So all of this again, these are like daily things, case studies which you learn in your MBA at a very, very small scale. Learned it at home. Again, come from family of engineers. So like अगर घर पे अगर आपका let's say flush या your lights are not working, we never used to have an electrician. Like me, my dad, my granddad used to try to fix it. Majority of the times to work, certain times it wouldn't work. But all of this kind of has made the character who I am. Mom has always been very resilient. So my mom is amazing thinker, but always has to have this fear in public speaking,
Right.
and she always wanted her kid to learn public speaking. So first time she made me speak in a storytelling competition, and I think so. I in the first round I didn't do well. She went to meet the teacher. How is my kid doing? Teacher ने उनको बोल दिया कि यार आपने मेहनत की इसलिए बच्चे को सिलेक्ट कर दिया, बट ही डजंट स्पीक वेल. मेरी मॉम ने अपनी ईगो पे ले लिया कि यार मेरा बच्चा कैसे नहीं बोल सकता. That night she made me speak 7 times. And for a kid which is 6 year, 7 year old to speak 7 times is a lot of thing. But she
Right.
prepped me so that she's like, you have to be the best. It doesn't matter if you win or lose. but you cannot be just like average. So she inculcated that excellence in me. So, and finally, I didn't win the first prize, but I did win the second prize in the storytelling competition. And the story was Cap Seller and Monkeys. And so, all of this, I would say, this financial discipline of a Gujju family and the budgeting skills, SME running day to day dhanda around sales and conversations around, I would say, like finances, working capital, and all. And at the same time, resilience of my mom to strive for excellence. And then this whole attitude in family that सब कुछ अपने हाथ से try करो. Worst case fail होंगे तो क्या, but try करना जरूरी है.
Right.
All of this basically made me who I am, because that is what entrepreneurship is, right? So again, sorry to stretch so back, but I just wanted to say these are where the roots of the entrepreneurship came in, around finance, around sales, around trying hard and failing, and building technologies, and resilience, right? Like the most important thing is resilience, is all striving for excellence, all came together. So that is how the childhood had been. And post childhood did engineering. That is where I built my first company. So my first company is called Linkon Technologies.
Okay.
And very interestingly, right, there was this big floods in the west coast of Gujarat, and I went to go and solve for went with my friends to understand like what happened, because a lot of my friends had like home damage, and generally you are in college, Surat and all, and saw this firsthand. And this time I was in second year of engineering, and I know most of us have done engineering. A lot of times we study this Fourier's transforms, we study this PID control, and सोचते पढ़ तो लिया, apply कहाँ पे करेंगे? So that was
Right.
the same thing which was also going on in my mind. How do I go and apply whatever I've studied? So thought ke water level management is nothing but like a tank level management. At least that is what I assumed at that point of time. So why not build a system that can manage water levels across rivers so we can stop the problem of floods? I ended up building a control system, and of course, it was far more complicated than just maintaining water levels. It was a supervised control system because unsupervised learning was not present at those times. But a bit of machine learning, supervised control systems, and built an entire instrumentation orchestration for that. And that got converted to a company, because I realized that when you can solve for floods, you can also optimize hydroelectricity generation. You can also optimize irrigation, and everything put together is my first company in Con Technologies. We have automated, let's say, 1200 megawatt of hydropower automation across the country so far. And now we have merged it with our family business, but that's the first company I'm built.
Got it. You're always been a builder at heart, Nirmit. So ये एप्पल में जब आप जॉब कर रहे थे was taking this decision कि यार अब जॉब करनी है was tough for you, and Apple is a big company. Once you got into that company, was leaving that something that was जो आपने काफी thought through किया कि यार अब ये, और ये कैसे decide किया कि यार अब मेरे को move on कर जाना चाहिए एप्पल से.
Yeah, so Apple ना, so let's track back, right? मैंने पहली बार Apple का नाम कब सुना? So see, I grew up in India and was born in Mumbai, but grew up in Ahmedabad. So for me, the biggest tech company in my head was always Microsoft, because हमने
Okay.
सबने Microsoft के computers पे ही हम देखा हुआ है, assembled computers हम खरीदते थे, right? So my life started with a 386, a 486. HCL used to make that BCBs, and then assembled computer. I used to assemble the computer myself because was also interested in a bit of gaming and stuff in early days of my life. So I had never heard about Apple, but during my I would say third year of my engineering, I had a friend called Purav. Used to play guitar, had long hair, and a very interesting fellow. And during the exam, मुझे library में मिला. मैंने बोला, and we had an exam of electronics. So I was trying to figure out which books should I go and read so I can prep well for my exams. And then he was in the section of business. बोला, what are you doing here? And he's like, oh, I'm trying to read interesting business books. मैंने बोला, dude, कल exam है, like you need to prep it. It's like, Nirmit, exam का इस बार छोड़ दे, तो ये book पढ़. And he gave me this book called Icon.
Hmm.
It was story around Steve Jobs, how we built Apple. And he's like, you read it. मैंने बोला, नहीं, I have to prep for my exams. He's like, नहीं, बस में जाके पढ़ लेना. So we had a bus to go from college to home. In the bus, I started reading the book. I started reading that book. I kept on reading through the entire day. Next day morning, that I was still reading. And that inculcated a lot of this pieces around how I want to build a company which is as interesting and as big as Apple. And for me, so Apple had a very, very close, I would say, relation to my heart from that day. And that is where I got introduced to iPod. They had just released it then, and saw the computer, saw the quality of machines there. I was like just blown away. but of course they're very expensive, so I couldn't afford them at that point of time. And so this is where it started from the heart. Now when we go and look at Apple, so few things, right? A lot of times people feel Apple is winning because of only design and technology. I would say the biggest role which plays part in Apple winning is operations. And I was very, very excited about how Apple runs their operation. Because think about this, right, Sashank? To your question, I'd built two companies. So I built one company, Linkon, which we talked about.
Right.
And then I'd also built up a second company called Cruxbot, which we had merged with No and sold it to Intel. After building these two companies were like, building like small planes, like Cessnas. And I wanted to see how an Airbus operates, how an Airbus functions, because it is not about driving the plane. It is about how do you have the right pilots, how do you have the right crew, how do you have the right ticketing system. So Apple was that behemoth at that point of time. They used to build like 1 million phones a day. And how do you build, like, हम एक software release
Hmm.
या एक प्रोजेक्ट करने में वाट लग जाती है. When you want to build million iPhones a day and each iPhone designed beautifully, you feel that it is, how do you do that? So I was very fascinated about that. So went there. I wanted to learn operations first, so joined their operations team at Apple. And I would say my first learning there at Apple was quality is a feature. So a lot of times uh, we feel they have product bana diya, but like every single time you have to go and build a quality product, it takes, like, building a product to 95% is easy. The rest 5% to take it from 95 to 100 is where the real differentiation lies, and Apple does that. Like, look at the packaging, right? If you opened an Apple box, it slowly opens up. I'm very sure anybody who built an Apple phone would never even throw away a box. So a company which is an electronics company, if they take so much care about packaging, think how much care they will take about the electronics, the design and everything, doing that. And then doing that again, don't forget the scale. Apple is the only company where you see a high premium product, which is also sold at a volume. Most of the times you see premium products, like if you see a Ferrari or Rolls Royce, they're always sold in like very small volumes. Or you will see like buckets and soaps, high volume products sold at a very low premium.
Right.
So Apple is this, I would say it's just one of those products in the world, extremely high premium, sold at high volume. So learn that quality is a feature, and everything in Apple is quality, right? Starting from packaging to how they build it. Even you look at the offer letter which I received from Apple for my internship. I think so. The paper was a very different paper. When you touch it and you feel the paper, you can feel it was a high GSM paper. The font on that offer letter was also done in a very different way. So again, see, this comes to the ethos of the company. When you take care about the small, small things everywhere, is very different and is not seen any company. So for me, it was like a dream company. I learned a lot around operations. They worked a lot around Asia, particularly China, and I think they were also starting something in India back then. Now India is a full-blown operations for Apple also now. So learned a lot of these pieces. Learned from the best managers. Also learned around how do they do interesting things, right? I talk about this a lot. If you go to an iPhone store, you'll always see an iPhone is always put at a 20-degree angle, not at a 30-degree angle.
Hmm.
Now, why would you do that, right? See, 30 डिग्री एंगल पे आपको आईफोन का स्क्रीन परफेक्टली दिखेगा. 20 डिग्री पे होगा ना, तो आप आईफोन को हाथ में पकड़ोगे
और वो
एंड
आएगी आपको फिर।
feel आ गई. फिर that's it. You are sold there because it is your phone in your hand, and that is right. So these are all the small things that matter. And there's a difference between, see, building a good company. You see a lot of people build good companies, good products, but good to great का difference है ना, which is very hard to go and cross and solve. I think says Apna, we are still at a good level. We are not at a great level. We are also still striving to go and do that. But that difference when a company goes from a good to great, that is where you will see magical experiences. You will see magical retention. You will see magical financial numbers. Everything is magic then. So I think so for me, learning, seeing this firsthand, I think so was an opportunity of a lifetime. Seeing the culture, the excellence at which people work was an opportunity of lifetime.
गॉट इट। नहीं, आपने काफी इंपॉर्टेंट पॉइंटर्स बताए कि हाउ एप्पल इज फोकस्ड ऑन क्वालिटी एंड व्हेन आई ट्रांसलेट्स टू हायरिंग व्हाट काइंड ऑफ इंटरव्यू प्रोसेस डिड यू हैड व्हेन यू वर इंटरव्यूइंग एट एप्पल, कितने राउंड्स हुए थे और किस पे उन्होंने ज्यादा ओवर इंडेक्स किया था, वाज इट प्रॉब्लम सॉल्विंग और स्ट्रक्चरिंग ऑफ द आंसर्स?
I think so. Mostly it was problem solving.
ओके।
So we had 4 rounds when I interviewed at Apple. First round mein we had alum of, so I was doing my MBA at Stanford. So we had a Stanford alum, GSB alum, who actually took our first round of interview. And that is where I think so they do the culture fit. Is this person even the right culture fit for me? So interestingly, most of the companies will do culture fit the last.
Yeah,
They
right.
do it at the first.
Hmm.
So and they also have, and for the person to also feel like, fine, vulnerable, to be honest, the culture fit interview, the first interview is done by an alum of the school. So
Hmm.
think about this. If I am an alum of Nirma University, when I go to Nirma University, I as an alum would kind of go and do the interview. So that makes the person feel comfortable and they can have a very honest conversation. So I had one of the most honest conversation with that alum. She had a question, right? Oh, you were built companies. Why don't you go and work for a company versus building one more new? So that conversation was very honest. I talked about what I loved. I talked about what I wanted to learn. She allowed me to be who I am in the interview. So she got to also see the real color. So that is the first, the culture fit interview they do. उसके बाद जो सेकंड वाला जो इंटरव्यू आता है was where you get into the real nitty-gritties of operations.
Hmm.
And this is where problem solving, and it is very much real life operations versus bookish operation. See, in bookish operation, you can always say, okay, how do you design the highest throughput? How do you put the bottleneck, probably the first thing in the system? They're all very bookish operational rules. But when you want to do operations at Apple scale, bookish is assumed that you know.
Right.
The idea is how do you do it real? So they talked about real life emergency situations because operation is always a guardian function, right? Even if you build a million phones, nobody knows because it's always invisibly done. But the day you screw up building a million phones a day, everything tanks or
Right.
don't do it well. So the idea is about how do you show excellence. So the questions were asked about like factory में अगर आधी रात को like आग लग जाती है तो क्या करोगे अगर फैक्ट्री में आपका प्रोडक्शन स्टॉप हो गया तो क्या इट्स अ वेरी वेरी रियल लाइफ क्वेश्चंस व्हिच आई इंटरव्यूड we had interview across 4 different departments. So the way it happens at Apple is, let's say there is a iPhone department, there is an iPad department, there is a procurement department, which will again hire for supply chain. So a bunch of these departments are excited to hire this candidates, right? So we all go and talk to all departments. At the end of this, we rate all the departments in a rating of 1 to 4,
Hmm.
and the departments also rate us. So a
Hmm.
lot of times it happens that I like, say, iPhone, but you realize iPad also likes me more. Then, and that is where, so after the rating is done, in the evening, there's a reception where you get to, like, it's like more like speed dating, where you will see the iPad team, you will see a iPhone team, you will see me. I know I'm interested in an iPhone versus procurement or versus an iPad. So I will try and spend more time with the iPhone team. At the same time, the iPad team also wants you to go and join them. So they also will, or the procurement team wants you to join them. So they also try to woo you. And then you get to know, okay, this guy's like you more versus less. So it's
Right.
it's 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 a very interesting and intellectual dance, I call, but probably the most amazing experience, like starting from culture fit to logic, problem solving, to finally they see finesse of conversation at the reception. How do you gel well and you try to have a conversation? That's how real business is done. You need culture, you need problem solving, and then you need to know the finesse around relationship management. And basically, they test all three, and that is how the Apple interview experience is.
Got it. And was this the seeding point for the idea behind अपना कि अगर ये इसको इतने अच्छे से कर सकते हैं, maybe build something for India और फिर इसको launch करो? And why this name अपना? What's the story behind that?
Okay, so अपना का story बहुत ही interesting है. And honestly, it never started as a company, right? So पहला जो see life में all the companies Shashank which I built were never started. First one was flood control solve करने realize कि इसके around कुछ market बन सकता है तो बन गया. Second one was this crux bot. I was with my girlfriend and it was our first date. I wanted to impress her. Ended up building crux bot for her. And Apna was very similar. I was watching this movie called Gully Boy. I don't know if you watched that movie.
Yeah, I watched it.
Very, very
Hmm.
interesting movie. And while watching this movie, it felt like, that India में बहुत लोगों के ऊपर एक glass ceiling आ जाता है. And the society, the people around you, the reason they put this glass thing was they care about you. They don't want that you will fail and you will hurt yourself. But this glass ceilings also stop you from growing. And
Right.
Gully Boy was a movie about that. Right? There's a very interesting dialogue where the protagonist Murad, Ranveer Singh wants to be this hip hop sensation, and his dad is like, "हम middle class लोग हैं, हमको सपना देखने का हक नहीं है." and he interestingly says, you know, मैं मेरा सपना नहीं बदलूंगा जो मेरे सच्चाई से मेल खाए, मैं अपना
Hmm.
सच्चाई बदलेगा जो मेरे सपनों से मेल खाए.
Right.
So for me, that was a very, very pivotal point that like really kind of just pierced me. Is like India, such a young country with probably the like majority of population under 30. This gully boy story is story of every single Indian who has dreams in this heart.
Right.
And having spent time in US, uh, like I think so, everybody talks about the American dream. I Gully Boy is a story of an Indian dream.
Right.
And how do we go and enable like billions such Indian dreams is what I wanted to do. So I wanted to go and help these people. So I watched this movie in the evening, take a late night flight, and this is San Francisco. So take a late night flight to India, Ahmedabad. So 3 to 6 I see the movie. 10:30 there's a Air India flight. Took that flight and ended up reaching India to build something like this. And anyways, hiring. I was to be fair, I was also thinking about hiring because my dad's company was going through a lot of hiring problems
Okay.
when they were trying to hire. Our family business was going through hiring problems. So I knew the problems firsthand. But it was where that story hits you, where you feel, okay, yeah, this is my life calling. I have to do this. If not now, then when? Ended up doing that. Again, initial idea was 2000 लोगों का life change करना है.
Hmm.
And from there to where we are today, Sashank, we have now north of 59 million users. That is almost 5.9 crore users on the platform. We work in 900 odd cities. We do north of 10 million job interviews a month. We work with last year. We started monetizing a year and a half ago. So last year, north of 2.5, 3 lakh MSMEs bought Apna's hiring plan
Hmm.
and use Apna for their hiring needs. 30% of Nifty 100 companies use Apna for their general staffing, that is 0 to 7 years. So Apna's specialty is 0 to 7 years across all fields. We are a cornerless platform. So
Right.
across all fields, 0 to 7 years, that's where our specialty lies.
Got it. Nirmit, the numbers are phenomenal, but start करता है तो there is always a cold start problem. And I've interacted with you a lot, and I know that you are a strong believer in community and network effects. So how does that help you in building this platform where it is today from the day you started?
Right. See, network effects, I think so, is core to what Apna is. And I'm a very big believer in if you want to build a company, you have to create a moat, and network effects becomes a moat. So just for the overall audience here, I will quickly define what network effects are.
Right.
So for certain companies, every user when they get added, it increases value to every other user. That's the definition of a network effect. For example, the reason why, say, Sashank, you and I are on a WhatsApp or Instagram is not only because of platform, because all of your friends are there.
Right.
They post photos, they put messages, you like them, you talk to them, and is there. So tomorrow, if we say both of us raise $1 billion to build the next WhatsApp or the next Instagram, can we go and build one? Yeah, it's easy. Can we build a better design? Maybe yes. But are we going to win the battle? I would say definitely no, because all of your friends go there not because of the product, because other people are there. So
Right.
till you don't transmit all the other people, and nobody will come because the other person is not there. People will not switch. So network effects become a very exponential moat for any company on the long run. And the idea is very simple. Till the intrinsic value of the new product is not higher than the network value which the incumbent or the current product has, people don't switch. So with that definition, now you talked about the cold start problem. Break down Apna. Okay. What do you need to build a good Apna? You need employers and you need candidates and you
Right.
need a platform.
Right.
Honestly, building the platform is the easiest thing to do in today's world, right? In today's world of AI, you can kickstart a platform, build a platform in like a couple of minutes. So building a platform is actually the easiest one. So let's say you build a platform. Now, what we saw is a lot of competition was working across multiple cities. तो थिंक अबाउट दैट उबर अगर आप बना रहे हो और आपके 100 ही गाड़ी है और आप 10 सिटी में 10 गाड़ी डिप्लॉय करते हो द कंज्यूमर एक्सपीरियंस इज गोइंग टू बी वेरी बैड बिकॉज व्हेन if these 10 cars are busy or they're far away, whenever somebody asks for Uber, your car is 20 minutes away and
Right.
it's going to take your cars. But what if you deployed all 100 cars in just one city?
Hmm.
So in that case, you get your Uber in 3 minutes and you also get to uh, that is cheap or economical cost on an Uber. So what we did is rather than opening into 900 cities, which most of the competitors are operating on, we said we'll get one city very well. So we started with Mumbai. We got in one city very right. We subsidized one set of the market employers, so we made jobs free. Candidates started coming on the platform. Over the time, we started charging employers. Candidates always remained free on Apna. That is how we kickstarted the cold start problem or the chicken and egg or the network effect problem.
गॉट इट निर्मित जो सबसे बड़ा चैलेंज आता है मतलब बेसिस माई इंटरेक्शन ऑल्सो इज दैट कैंडिडेट से कि हमें राइट सेट ऑफ अपॉर्चुनिटीज पता नहीं चलती हैं या कई बार ये अपॉर्चुनिटीज हिडन हुए सो एज समवन हु इज बिल्डिंग अ प्लेटफॉर्म व्हिच इज फोकस्ड ऑन इंडियन प्रोफेशनल्स आप कुछ चीजें कर रहे हैं क्या डिफरेंटली टू सॉल्व फॉर दिस टू हेल्प पीपल रियलाइज देयर ड्रीम और पोटेंशियल
So couple of things we have done and couple of things we are doing. Because I would say हमारा पहला तो first 4 years was just to solve for information asymmetry. So I'll
राइट
tell you what we have done so far and what we are going to be launching very soon, which I'm very, very excited about. Because पहले तो hygiene करना था. The hygiene में first thing I wanted to ensure that people find hyperlocal opportunities. So that thing we have done very well. You come on Apna, you put your location, you put your area, you'll see hyperlocal opportunities. So that starts coming. The second thing what we have realized as we talk to more and more people is a lot of time people are there in terms of say I know good sales and I want to go and become say a technician or a sales technician at or a sales manager at say let's pick up a company. Okay, sunglasses here, Lenskart. I would go and work for a Lenskart. तो मुझे सेल्स करना बेसिक आता है बट when I go to a Lenskart interview, I am not ready to go and face a Lenskart interview because वहाँ पे they will talk about frames. Like there are Wayfarer, there are metal frames, there are this frames. They'll talk about bifocals, lenses versus different type of glasses which are going to put in frames. They will talk about costing of this lenses. They will talk about breakages of the lenses. They need to talk about policies. So जो 10% जो finishing होता है, जो finishing school for any particular company is missing in the candidate. So what we will do as Apna, we want to build this finishing school for every single company, for every single job role. That's what I think we will very soon see we are going to launch on Apna. Think about like it's a cheat sheet, it's a hack. If you want to go and close a role or to be a credit risk analyst at Goldman Sachs, I'll give you a cheat sheet how to go and do that. So 90% तो आप कॉलेज में डिग्रीज में पढ़ लेते हो जो 10% का जो गैप होता है which is a differentiator between win and a loss is what we want to go and track. So we want to go and build that. Uh, so that is something which I'm very excited about as a new feature which we are launching soon. I would say very soon. And that I think is going to be game changing for what we are trying to build. So that's what we want to do.
Got it, Nirmit, and you also interact with lot of employers कि इनके क्या challenges रहते हैं basically when I talk about specifically India market is quality of candidates a challenge for them or maybe attrition what kind of challenges employers face and उसमें भी अगर आपके कुछ interventions हैं if you can share some light on that. Yeah.
So दो टाइप के so let's segment the employees so that we are not regressing towards the mean. आपके
Right,
पास दो टाइप को इंडिया में दो टाइप के employees हैं.
right.
One are your SME employers
Hmm.
and one are your enterprises.
Right.
So हम पहले SMEs की बात करें. So
Hmm.
SMEs का सबसे बड़ा चीज होता है which we have solved very well is I want to do pin code based hiring. I want people only within 5 kilometers of my because see unlike an enterprise which can send you the cabs and the buses to pick you up, SMEs will not have that much money, power, or influence power.
Right.
So people, if they come from 15, 20 kilometers away, for them to hire people becomes tough because people will end up not showing up on time and all. So we just launched this thing. My friend, we are the only platform in India which has this pin code hiring, where you put up a pin code or you pick up an area and see within 3 kilometers of area, find me talent which basically which are into say sales and who have also sold credit card. So we also, along with the job role, we also figure out what they have sold, what industries they have cracked, and we try and do that. So that helps the SMEs. Now, when you go to enterprises, see the challenge of enterprises is very different. For them, they are hiring at scale a lot of times, and they want to ensure that the people they get are industry ready. So industry readiness is very important. Now, coming back to the finishing school which we're building, I think so that can be a great way for these guys to also get this candidate. So again, all of this puts together is where we want to go and solve this.
गॉट इट सो बेसिकली दोनों सेगमेंट के चैलेंजेस डिफरेंट होते हैं आई थिंक जो मेरे एक्सपीरियंस में कि कई बार कैंडिडेट्स भी रैंडमली बिना देखे किसी प्रोफाइल पे अप्लाई कर देते हैं तो वो थोड़ा आपको जंक जो एप्लीकेशन है वो भी मिल जाती है बट वन क्वेश्चन दैट पीपल कीप ऑन आस्किंग टू मी आल्सो एंड आई लाइक टू नो योर थॉट्स की तीन चीजें ये लोग कहते हैं कि आप बेसिकली देख सकते हो या तो सैलरी देख प्रोफाइल देख लो या कंपनी की ब्रांड देख लो अगर इसको स्टैक रैंक करना होगा सो व्हाट विल बी योर स्टैक रैंकिंग अगर किसी को आपको सजेस्ट करना हो, should they look at salary, brand, or maybe profile?
Salary, profile, या company brand and company name.
Yeah, right.
So I think this is one of the most brilliant questions, Shashank. I loved it because when I look back, like, and see, and the answer will be different at what stage of life you are.
Right.
So let's say if I'm a young professional, 0 to 5 years in my life cycle.
Hmm.
In that case, for me, the first is company. I
Okay.
want to get to the right company. The second thing is going to be the role, and the third thing is going to be salary. Because the first 5 years of life, you're building a career for yourself. It's okay, right? You see, it is about short term and long term, right? Short term, it's okay if you make, say, few thousand rupees less a year. It's okay. It doesn't change your life. But if you learn something interesting, you can make millions and billions in the later part of the life. So for me, this is like compounding investments. So, and this is how I also took a decision. The reason why I went and worked for Apple was to see as a business school graduate, I could have gone and worked for, say, an investment bank. I could have gone and worked for an hedge fund. Could have made crazy amount of money doing that. Was very simple. At that point of time, I wanted to learn the ethos of Apple. Right? Ethos of Apple is quality. Ethos of Apple is high margin product at scale.
Hmm.
Ethos of Apple is how do you build a culture which is so motivated to build out the best products in the world? How do you go and ensure that your design, your engineering, and your operations run at the same speed? This harmony of all three coming together. See,
Right.
all of these things you cannot learn anywhere. You have to be at the center of action at Apple. You cannot outside and learn this. Similarly, says think about it. Somebody today wants to go and learn how, say, AI is dominating the world. I want to go and learn how things change in AI in terms of what are the new multimodal models that are coming. What are the right chips that I need to build? If I want to go and learn about everything about chips, GPUs, I have to go and work for an NVIDIA because
Right.
think about this. If even I'm sitting in a cafeteria, which whatever roles I'm doing a product role at NVIDIA, and there's a hardware engineer sitting next to me, he's talking about the challenges this guy is facing with chip designs. There's so much to learn. The interactions are so amazing. Similarly, I want to go and work for to building a model. I'll go and work for a, say, an OpenAI, or I'll go and work for a DeepSeek. In India, there are a lot of AI companies which have come up, right? So I'll go and work for, say, a Servam, a smallest.ai. I just read they built an interesting multimodal thing. So I would go and learn and work for such companies. So company comes first. After you go and crack a company, you can crack a role. A lot of times, what happens, you might not get the best role in the company. Like say, I want to do product, but I got a strategy role in a company. I'll get an operation role in a company. I will go and join the company within 6 months. Internally in the company, I'll switch to a product role. Because rather than cracking that company again inside to crack a role inside the company, you
Easier.
just have to date that manager like for like say 6 months, talk about how you're interested about the role and the project the manager is doing. The manager will open up a role for you. It's as
Right.
simple as that.
Right.
So A दो solve हो गया. अगर आपने A दो solve कर दिया and now see you picked up the company what you're passionate about, so you're going to excel in the job. Salary automatically within a year solve हो जाएगी.
Right.
So this is how I would look into company role and salary.
And आपने
But
लाइफ स्टेज की भी बात की थी, हाँ, राइट.
sorry, Sashank, you go and then I'll add a point here, please.
You talked about life stage, so मैं उसी पे टच करने वाला था कि आपने कहा था लाइफ स्टेज भी वैरी करता है, so how big role does that play also?
Right. So now let's say I'm 10 year into the journey, into my life journey. So let's say I've built up a role into product management.
Right.
Now for me to switch from product management and do operations or do business, Sashang is hard. So
Right.
in that case, my role becomes my primary thing.
Hmm.
Now at this life stage, I'm already doing well and solve हो गया. And by default, company में solve करूंगा, the salary automatically solve हो जाएगी. Because by default, I will not pick up a company which does not give me that great salary. So it's
Right.
role, company and salary. Salary by default, I think so. अगर पहला तो solve करते हैं ना, salary is an automatic function that sells for it. But अगर आप खाली salary को बना, like मतलब if you go and sell illegal stuff, you'll make a lot of salary, but you don't want to do that. It's not right. So that is why I would always say you solve for the first two, and salary by default is a symptom of the first two.
Right. So if you have a good role or a good brand on your resume, chances are ki salary will be good. Nirmit ji,
Rarely you will see कि salary fatega because you. I've never seen. Actually, I've never seen in my life you have a good role in a good company and salary is not right. You'll never see that. Like
And I think platform like yours also ensure कि people get to right set of opportunities जहाँ पे salary की issue ना आए. One thing that I also wanted to touch base on Nirmit is upskilling part. People don't want to invest much time क्योंकि उन्हें पता है कि यार physical college में जाके शायद उतना time नहीं दे सकते. So how much big role do you see online education playing when it comes to upskilling, and do you feel कि इसका adoption आगे जाके बढ़ेगा ही, or the offline presence will definitely have its charm जैसे पहले था?
Okay, I think so. Very, very, very deep question and multi-layered question. So let's
Right.
first say online, right? So first, I believe online is going to do a very major role play, particularly in higher education
Okay.
versus primary. Like, so I have a kid who is a 2-year-old kid. I don't want him to study online. I want him, so he goes to a Montessori school.
Hmm.
He interacts with other kids, learns a lot from other kids. I really, really don't want him to study online. We try to restrict digital time actually for the kid. Once he turns maybe 3 or 4, that is where I want him to go start. See, he has to learn how to operate with new technology. So he still uses the Apple Pencil, studies, he draws, he interacts with technology. But studying online means he's spending his majority of time online interacting. I don't want him to do that.
Right.
Right. So I'm a very big believer is early age, let them learn a technology, but don't let them study on a technology piece.
Got it.
And that's my very orthodox opinion. If you go higher education, I believe online is really great for higher education. Mainly it is going to be degrees and more.
Hmm.
Now, why would I say that? Okay, now again let's break that down. So today, if you look at India's youth, the total number of universities which are there are very lesser than the total number of people who are going to graduate in the next 10 years. So by default, I believe half of the population has to study online because it's very hard to build a university setup,
Right.
right? So it is just structure of the world which is going to push people to go and study online. However, I believe degrees are very important.
Hmm.
And I know again that's an unorthodox opinion. I don't think so. There is something wrong with the degrees that you're running online. I think so. The degrees need to be added to become super degrees. So, can you integrate degrees which you physically study or online study? And can you add like layers of industry readiness on top of degrees? Say, if I'm learning operations, let's say I'm running operations in my mechanical engineering. Why not teach me how do operations happen at Apple? Why not teach me how do operations happen at an HUL where they're building like crazy amount of soaps at a scale? Why don't I learn how operations happen in Swiggy and Zomato? Why I'm not running kind of learning live industrial courses here? So industry readiness is the first gap. The
Right.
second gap is future ready careers. I think so. A lot of times we study a lot of things which is backward looking versus forward looking. See, today I was playing with a interesting tool, AI tool, which allows you to say build a prototype in less than 3 and 4 minutes. So I have a team of say 10 engineers who is building a prototype for me. They took probably 1.5, 2 months to build this. We ended up spending like 1 crore of rupees on this prototype. That prototype was built by that AI tool in 3.5 minutes, and my total server billing was $4. This is the state of the world. And this AI tool had an IQ of 110. Now the new tools which I interact with, couple of tools which I interacted have an IQ of 150, 160 with the knowledge of the world. That's like an Einstein IQ and knowledge of the world. So
Right.
world is changing very fast. We will also have to equip India's workforce to be AI ready. I don't think so AI is going to take away any jobs. I think so we have to, but if you're not upskilled enough, think about this. Purane zamane mein, people used to drive this horse carts, right?
Right.
Uh, and now cars came, people say, okay, jobs chali nahi jayegi, jobs change hogi. So now you will end up needing people to rather than drive a horse cart, drive a car, drive a steam engine, drive an aeroplane.
Right.
So, but you have to be upskilled to how do you drive that. So I don't think so. The education today is upskilling me to be future ready. So I really believe traditional degrees plus industry readiness plus future ready skills plus a good platform so that I can find the right opportunities is what is the real recipe of future.
Got it. Got it. I think HI plus AI, human intelligence plus artificial intelligence, need to work together in this regard. इसमें निर्मित एक क्वेश्चन है that people generally have, जो थोड़ा सा टैबू भी रहता है कि यार ऑनलाइन डिग्री सेलेक्ट कर रहे हैं, so what are some of the things that they should look at while evaluating any program, because there are programs from many universities If you, as a coach or a mentor, have to give them some suggestion, what are three things that one should look at before opting for any program, online program?
Again, very, very brilliant question. As you know, more and more people are going to study online, particularly degrees online. So first and foremost, are you studying from the best university?
Hmm.
And now the challenge is, I'll tell you, right? So say today in Apna, I was just on my way, I was interacting. So my office admin just started studying online. And I was just having a conversation very fortuitously just in the morning with him. Okay, how did you pick up, and he struggled to find which is the right university. Because he said like sub university, sub advertisement dollars dalte hai. So what is the right one? So
Right,
researching and understanding after an online program what kind of job opportunities I get or what is the increase in salary I get is very important. And but that details are not present anywhere. So I would
right,
say first, abhi ke liye somebody should go and research that. And I will see is Apna if you can go and figure out the details and be equipped with everything. We would like to integrate that in future as Apna, but today I think so nobody has the data. So
right.
first, having that data will be important. So go to a NAC A plus or above college.
Hmm.
First thing in that NAC A plus 2 above, there'll be like say you so out of 2000 universities, now you have gone down to like say 10% of the universities. In that 10%, figure out which are the top 30 universities which really work for them. It is important that you also excel in your career. So go
Right.
do that and find that thing, find that data. And I know it is not available today in the market, but we are trying to put that data together. Once you go and figure out when you go and study online, see the good pieces in today's world. If you go and study an online degree versus an offline degree, your certificates are same. So differentiation नहीं होता है ऐसा. So today, if somebody comes and says I have an MBA from say an XYZ university, I'm not going to ask online and offline because the certificate and the degree is the same.
Right.
So the good part is, unlike distance learning, where it is saying it's a distance learning thing, online education and offline education have the same degree certificates. That is one great thing which government is not differentiating. I'm very happy to do that because a lot of times online degrees are the same degrees but cheaper and
Right.
economical than offline degrees. So if people don't have money, they should not be discriminated against. So I love that. I think that's a brilliant initiative by the government and universities to do that. So so just find the right universities, figure out the top ones. And once you go and figure out the top ones, basically see that if the degree is valid in terms of online or offline, the same degrees. Once these two are done, NAC A plus dekho, and that's it. That is the best way to find the right online university. Also see if these universities have right placement programs or they have the right partners. Right, we see a lot of universities reaching out to Apna today to partner on their to build an ecosystem so that they have the right placements, right career opportunity for students. So see what partnership the university has.
Right.
Very if university is not focused on partnership with the right platforms, I would shy away from such universities.
Got it. He very rightly broken down into three things कि पहले कॉलेज आइडेंटिफाई करो, फिर देखो ऑनलाइन ऑफलाइन डिग्री दोनों सेम है कि नहीं, एंड थर्ड maybe then look at the kind of partnerships that they have. Since we have you here, Nirmit, and you are one of the key opinion leaders in India right now when it comes to jobs and employment. So 2025 का market आपको कैसा लग रहा है? How it will shape out? And if I talk about people who are searching for jobs or looking for switches, is everything looking good for them? कुछ आपको लगता है कि there will be some fluctuations because of the way US market is right now behaving?
So 2025, so it's a very, very, I would say very, very hard question. But I have a point of view. Uh, and I believe there's a high probability that my point of view should be aligned or in line to how the world shapes up. So my point of view, I think so 2025 is going to be a great year for jobs, and I will tell you why, where it's coming from. So now let's see. Jobs is again a symptom of how countries, industry, relationships, and everything grows. So let's open up the chessboard. Okay, let's play. Let's do some, I would say, intellectual brainstorming and chessboard play. Chessboard open करते हैं. So what is changing in the world today? First, the good pieces. There is geopolitical stability in the biggest two democracies of the world. तो अगर आप देखोगे India had elections, very stable, nice elections, markets are loving it. Similarly, US also had elections, markets are also loving. If you see the US markets are also doing well. So we see there's the investment dollars. See, because for any jobs to happen, industries need to be powered with dollars. So industry dollars are getting powered up. A lot of industrialization is happening. So first, stability at global level in terms of the two biggest democracies of the world is there. Now, so that's one chess piece. Okay. Now let's look at the other chess pieces. आपका second वाला chess piece comes down to be, I think so, India is going to be at forefront of everything. I'll tell you why. Now, let's look where are the opportunities and the jobs going to get created. Let's start with India. You see a lot of investment dollars, FDI, and everything flowing into India today.
Right.
Because stable economies worldwide, also there is a lot of focus on technology. India is a young force, so you will see a lot of investment, so a lot of development and consumption in India is going to be very high. So Indians themselves are going to consume a lot as a country, and because of that, a lot of industries will grow, and with industries growing, dollars flowing in, jobs will increase. So that is a by default piece. So that's the second piece. Now let's look at what's happening in the world at this point of time. You go and look at Europe. I think so. Europe is getting older day by day
Right.
in terms of the population. It's an aging population in Europe and US. Look at conflicts in the world, Ukraine, Russia conflict. So that's the second piece of chess. Russia, Ukraine conflict. You have a conflict in Syria, Israel, Lebanon. So a lot of that world is also going to be need rebuilding.
Right.
Okay, so now let's put it all together. Okay, abhi I just give you all the chess pieces. Abhi sabko saath mein laकर. That is where the whole story will say. First, the two biggest democracies, there's clarity in the two biggest democracies of the world in terms of the government and
Right.
markets allowing it. So money flowing in first. Second, India ka gross consumption is high, so India is going to create a lot of jobs. Secondly, Europe and US are going to create a lot of jobs, but they don't have talent
Hmm.
because the young talent is missing at this point of time at a lot of places.
Right.
Like the conflict-ridden areas of Ukraine and Russia, and as well as Syria, Middle East, will need a lot of rebuilding. So a lot of electrician, plumbers,
Right.
technicians are going to be needed there. Now, इतना सारा jobs create हो रहा है, उसका workforce कहाँ है world में? Youngest country in the world कौन सा है? India.
India.
Youngest English-speaking skilled country in the world कौन सा है? India.
India.
So India is going to power. That is why I say India is in the forefront. That is why this chess board which the world is aligned in, it makes a lot of sense for India today. And I'm very excited about how everything is going to play out. I hope this plays out as what we talked about. And I think that is like the golden age of India. Having said that, now I'll tell you where my caution lies. I told you that I feel this is high probability, but where Indian workforce has to be future skill ready, which it is not today.
Right.
Means today, if I go and find a job and I'm not using the right AI tools, I'm not future skill ready. Indian workforce has to be future skill ready in terms of, because see, today sales is changing dramatically. Today you see operations is changing dramatically, technology building, marketing. Today, my content team uses 80% of AI tools to generate content. Today,
Right.
my engineering team writes 30% of the code is written by AI. If they are not upskilled the right way, I think so the workforce will not work. So I would say if the workforce is future skill ready, I think so it's the best place to be. India is in an amazing position. Youth, assuming it is future skill ready, I think so will win over the world.
Got it. नहीं, I think very rightly said. वो upskilling वाला part लोग miss कर जाते हैं. They only see कि यार CV डाल रहे हैं, call क्यों नहीं आ रही. There is one question that I'd like to ask, मतलब getting lot of this question from the follower base as well, कि what should be the time horizon if I start looking for a job today? तो कितना मंथ का मेरे को टाइम लेके चलना चाहिए, एटलीस्ट सम क्लैरिटी फ्रॉम योर साइड कि मे बी 2 मंथ 3 मंथ इतना तो देना ही चाहिए, उसके पहले पैनिक नहीं करना चाहिए कि यार
So
जॉब नहीं.
3 months dena chahiye. I'll tell you why. Because see, a lot of times people feel that job is just a job, but I think so there's the opportunity cost, right? It's the most important, I would say, treasure we all have is time.
राइट.
We only have limited years on planet Earth as of today. And so अगर आप 2 साल कोई company में डाल रहे हो, you really want to make that decision right. Because see, switching companies very quickly are like create eyesores for the HRs,
राइट.
to be very honest. So you don't want to, because next company जब हमने 4 company एक साल में switch किया है, people are not going to like your resume. They are going to feel something is wrong with you. Independently, you were right. The companies were like shit, and you couldn't go and join the companies, but it will not work for you. So
राइट.
so my perspective is, when I say culture fit agar nahi hai, don't join the company. Wait for it, give it time. So that is why you want to ensure that before you make a decision that I'm going to go and switch, 3 months pehle start your journey. One, and don't panic. I would say find the right company, find the right role if you're young, and salary will follow. Or if you're like already in a say 10 years into your career path, find the right role, find the right company, and again salary will follow. But give yourself 3 months.
Got it. नहीं, I think very
Because
right.
and not ideally I would say 6 months, but honestly, Shashank, in India, I don't think so a lot of people are financially privileged to have a liberty of 6 months. So three
Right.
months, I think, is a good enough time. So this, it sometimes this is like you have to find the right partner and make a choice, right?
Right.
Because you can always keep looking at new opportunities, finding and looking at new partners, but at some point of time you say this is it, and I'm going to now jump in. Good or bad, we'll figure out with time.
राइट एंड आई थिंक जो आपने शुरू में बोला वो भी बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है कि अपना नेटवर्क भी बिल्ड करते चलो बिकॉज आई थिंक अ लॉट ऑफ अपॉर्चुनिटीज यू कैन गेट विद इन योर नेटवर्क ओनली इफ यू हैव फ्रेंड्स हु कैन रेफर यू आउट तो वो भी करते रहना चाहिए आई हैव कपल ऑफ क्वेश्चंस फ्रॉम द ऑडियंस आई थिंक दिस इज द लास्ट सेगमेंट दैट आई हैव would like to know your thoughts. So one question is from freshers ki what are your tips for freshers, Nirmit? The job market is tough for us and our placement in college is also not that great. What are some of the things that we can do to stand out?
Okay. So for freshers, first let me say what we are trying to do, and then I will say how I put myself in a fresher shoe, what I would do.
Right.
So as Apna, what we are doing, we are working with amazing collaboration with the government of India, AICT, and everyone, where we have now built digital pipeline to almost 22,000 colleges and 2,000 universities inside the country. That means you have a level playing field. If you go to an AICT career portal, you have a level playing field, whether you are, say, a bacha from an IIT or you're a bacha from a tier 2 or a tier 3 college. If you are in the top percent and you can go and crack the problem, it doesn't matter which college you come from.
Right.
So most importantly, Shashank, creating a level playing field was very important. So any university you study, if you have that jasba, that josh in you, we will help you reach the right opportunity. But you have to go and crack it. So the equal opportunities to everyone. That's what we have done.
Hmm.
Now I put myself in the candidate lens. First is, say, let's say I have access to the AICT career portal so that all the opportunities keep coming to me. Now I go and apply for a job or on an Apna or any other platform. First, what I've done something to excel in my resume. So the first step is apply. So I'll just go and apply. I will ensure that I have tailored my resume to the job. So today it
Right.
is very important that if I'm applying to a sales job, I'm tailoring my resume. I talk about how do I enjoy sales, what kind of sales I've done. Say if in an college while building an event you sold sponsorship, you want to talk and highlight those pieces. Versus when you're applying to a tech job, the same resume gets tailored in a tech way. What are the projects? What are the engineering projects you build? So first tailor your resume to the job you're going to apply. Second, think about what are the future ready skills you have. I think so a lot of times that is what I will write in my cover letter or I will do a secondary email post applying to a job. Okay, see, for example, let's say somebody's applying to, let's pick up a company, somebody's applying to
Maybe
da da da. Sorry,
Infosys, Accenture, any of these companies which are mass.
Accenture, yeah, was trying to apply to Apna for a job interview. This person sent me an onboarding page which was better than Apna, and the person is in third year of engineering. And I told my tech team and my product team कि भाई देखो third year engineering का बच्चा ने अच्छा product बनाया है. He actually built an entire onboarding flow using AI, sent it
Right.
to me, and I'm like I was blown away. And we are going to give this person an offer. So ऐसा कुछ करो, कुछ अलग करो, right?
It's
See, think
unique.
about this. This
हाँ.
is like, see, the way I would say this is like dating. Okay,
Right.
like see आपको कोई बंदा या बंदी पसंद है. आप उसको बस ऐसे ही देखते रहोगे, हेलो हाउ आर यू वाला एसएमएस फॉरवर्ड करोगे तो कुछ नहीं होने वाला.
Hmm.
You figure out what that person likes. Let's say if this person likes cake, go and make a cake for him or her and say and share it like, oh, I know you enjoy cake. This is what I've done for you. Or if this person likes shopping, you do that, right? So you figure out what the person on the other side likes. If you see the person has problem with homework, to build an homework AI project for the person and do it. Similarly, figure out what is the biggest challenge the company is facing
Right.
today, where you're going and applying, and do something for them in that perspective. Think about that. If you're applying to TCS, Infosys, one of the biggest project is going to be with a lot of AI advanced. Uh, how are the projects going to change?
Right.
So go and figure out, put up your point of view. Okay, I figure out that given with the advance in AI, the kind of projects which are going to come to TCS and Infosys are going to be in this direction. Write a
Right.
small half-page note. If I'm an MBA intern
Hmm.
and I want to go and do work with the business leadership at an Infosys and a TCS, this is the email I send it to them. Of course,
Right.
I'll send my resume along with that, but okay, this is my point of view. What do you think? I would like to come for a cup of tea and jam ideas with you. See, you have to differentiate yourselves, and that is where the matter lies. Also, I see, at least at Apna, I see that how people are also changing how hiring happens. Most of these companies are now coming with problem statements to freshers.
Right.
So they will come say, we want to hire, say, 100 engineers, and this is a problem statement which, say, a Walmart is facing, a Ninja Cart is facing, and they will put this problem statement, and all of this, say, thousands of students across variety of colleges will go and solve this problem statement. There'll be round one, round two, round three, and like 1,000 people who are the best will go for the final round to the will also win prizes and as well as go to the final round to a Ninja Card, to a Swiggy, to a Zomato for the next steps. So I believe that also the way of hiring for freshers is also going to be changing significantly, and you will see we at Apna are trying very hard working with companies to build this new age of hiring, because I believe the millennials, the Gen Z, particularly, and the Gen Alpha, which is a new generation, they want to get connected to the mission of the company. So companies will also have to change their hiring process at the same time.
गॉट इट नहीं वेरी क्लियरली सेट कि आप स्किलिंग पे तो ध्यान दो एट द सेम टाइम ट्राई टू बी डिफरेंट फ्रॉम अदर्स क्योंकि इतनी ज्यादा वॉल्यूम में एप्लीकेशंस आती हैं सो यू हैव टू स्टैंड आउट वन क्वेश्चन दैट आई आल्सो गॉट कि इज सेल्स अ गुड प्रोफाइल टू स्टार्ट माय करियर मैं इंट्रोवर्ट हूं आई जस्ट फ्रेश आउट ऑफ कॉलेज इज सेल्स समथिंग दैट आई शुड बी डूइंग सो what are your thoughts on that because I know कि a lot of sales hiring is enabled through Apna only.
So my honest piece is yes, every person should start their career or in some part of their career do sales. I'll tell you why. Okay. And before I tell you why, the logic, let's look at history. Who are the best CEOs in the world? They all have started their career in sales. Howard Schultz, the CEO of Starbucks, founder CEO of Starbucks, started his career in sales. Mark Cuban, before he built software companies, sold software. That is
Right.
where that is where they learned, right? Indian, right? Ajay Banga, right? The former CEO of Mastercard, ended up doing sales in Nestle, and then he became and that is how his career. So the best of the CEOs I've seen have always started their career in sales. I'll tell you why. Sales first grounds you. एक बार आप कोई भी छोटा भी चीज सेल करने जाते हो ना, you hear so many no's. It really grounds you. It's humiliating. I would say it's humbling at a lot of places. I think the right word is humbling, because you get to understand what is it to hear and know. You also get to see where rubber meets the road. See, it's very easy to build a product in a conference room and say this is how, or a boardroom, and this is how it's going to be. But when you go and sell it, that is where rubber meets the road. So you
Right.
get to understand market firsthand with your hands. So I believe that is an amazing thing. So even if before you build a product as an engineer, you have to do sales at some piece in life. And like my first job, even while I was building in Con, was selling it to the customer.
Right.
So even as an entrepreneur, you're always selling, right? You sell to a customer, you sell vision to your investor, you sell vision to your future teammates who are going to join you. So I think the sales is a very important piece, and I would say everybody should do sales in the early part of their lives. Finally, you can build your career into product strategy, you build your career into finance, you build your career into technology, engineering. But sales, I think this is the first job is sales is a great job and a great thing which is going to propel career. Look at every single CEO in the world, they would have done sales in some part of their lives.
राइट आई थिंक एंड सेल्स इज समथिंग जो आप डेली करते रहते हो अपने बच्चे को समझाना कि यार बदमाशी मत करो टू टेकिंग योर वाइफ आउट कि यहाँ पे घूमने चलते हैं आप हर टाइम पिच मारते ही रहते हो कुछ लैंड करती हैं कुछ नहीं करती आई थिंक देयर इज वन फाइनल क्वेश्चन दिस वाज फ्रॉम द वुमेन फॉलोअर बेस सो दे हैव आस्क्ड कि a lot of us are on career break due to maternity and we want to make a comeback in the workforce so what are some of the things or tips that we should be doing at least if we want to make a comeback after career break what is your advice for such folks
इंटरेस्टिंग. तो सबसे पहले ना वर्ड करियर ब्रेक को है ना हम ब्रेक कर लेते हैं.
ठीक
Why
है
are we calling it a career break? We assume, see, what are we assuming when a father or a mother or a parent, right? Any parent goes for a maternity break. At that point, we're assuming that you're not upskilling, you're actually upskilling. I
राइट
think so, Sashant, you have a kid of your own. I have a 2-year-old kid. And as parents, me and my wife, we are really upskilled in the last 2.5 years. I'll
राइट
tell you how we have upskilled ourselves, right? First, there's a third person that comes to the life. So you have to take care of, and you have to multitask. I've seen so many times myself. I'm on a conference call, or my wife is on a conference call, and like the kid is crying, the kid is in her hand, and you are giving milk to the kid, and yet parallel you're also talking on a call. So for me, this is upskilling because you're learning multitasking.
राइट
How do you do manage two things in parallel, right? So for me, that is the first piece. Second, teaching the kid. You talked about sales pitch, right? you're pitching your kid that, okay, don't do this, do this. It's probably the one of the best pitching and learning. Relationship management, I think so. Both the parents go under tremendous, I would say, physical and mental stress when you have a new person joining your life, and a lot of happiness. But you also have to be careful about this thing. So you also learn resilience, learn calmness. So for me, I would say first, like people assume that career break hua, the person has lost something in the career. I think so they've gained something a lot more.
Right.
So that's the first piece. So I really believe, and this is what I think. So I was just talking to my HR team, if we can build an initiative like that. That let's call this. It's an upskilling part because you upskill yourself to do something interesting more. Because जो आपने skill already है वो तो है. उसके ऊपर आपने upskill किया.
Right.
So I think that every company should start building such programs where rather than saying that, oh, we are doing a favor to you because you're in career break. No, 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 boss. It's no favor. You are getting somebody who is now more empathetic, more mature, more multitasking
Right.
person now joining your team. What do you need more? Right. So, and that only you learn after you become parents for the first time, right? It's very hard to appreciate that things till you are not a parent. So I have appreciated this more, and I have a big, I would say, a very, very big, I would say, high bar for people who come after, say, after like as parents, a father or a mother giving birth to a kid. So that's one. Secondly, on the women's side, today, every day we have 5,000 women candidates joining Apna every single day.
Right.
You've also seen 28% of women basically uh, getting better jobs
Hmm.
than last year. So that means they are applying. So salary increased 28% in roles where women have applied to,
Right.
which means confidence is increasing. We've also seen more and more women applying to roles which are managerial, manager plus plus on.
Hmm.
That also again showcases the confidence and also acceptance on the other side. So we see a lot of progress happening there. I think so. It's amazing, uh, and I'm very excited about because see, if India has to be a $1 trillion, $10 trillion, $50 trillion economy, you need to have men and women at the same footing.
Right.
वरना कभी नहीं बन पाएंगे. We can talk everything about it. So I am a very big believer. I think so. It is not only about this for a country. You have to have both of them on the same footing.
Yeah, I think you are one of the few leaders out there who has empathy at core of their business. So आप हमेशा पहले लोगों को रखते हैं, then you talk about business, and that is what I love about talking with you, interacting with you. Thank you so much, Nirmit, for taking out time today.
No, thank you, Shashank. Thank you for having me here. I'm very, very excited about the Bharat Upskill project, and I think so what you guys are doing, and this is just amazing. And thanks for giving me a chance to to have a conversation with you, talk to this amazing community which you have built. And I'm always open. If you guys have any ideas, any suggestions for Apna, please email me at nirmit@apna.co. I generally respond within 24 to 36 hours to an email, so I'm excited. But Shashank, again, thank you for having me here.
Thank you.